Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan.
It is Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. We're coming to you, as always, from Sacramento, California, where we've got decreasing clouds and a high of about 59 degrees.
A little chilly.
Yeah, a little. But the energy in the tech world is definitely heating up.
It is. Good morning. And before we get into the huge news from Amazon, we just have to take a moment.
We do.
Look at the calendar. This is it. Episode 200.
200. I know. I can barely believe it. 200 shows.
It's a huge milestone. Just, taking these really complex stories and trying to make sense of them for you every single day.
And we really couldn't do it without you listening, so thank you. And we have to give a massive shout out to Lindsay for the incredible new Connecting the Dots logo.
It looks so good. Really, really sharp.
It really does.
And speaking of sharp, the markets are looking pretty healthy this morning. A lot of optimism as we're heading towards the end of the year.
Absolutely. We saw some really steady gains. The Dow Jones closed up, and it's looking strong for the week with a gain of over 2.4%.
And same story with the S&P 500. Just powerful momentum, up almost 2.8% over the last 5 days.
Right. And that risk-on attitude, it seems to be continuing with digital assets.
Yeah.
Bitcoin closed just over 93,000.
Wow. Up over 8% for the week. It really seems like capital is just flowing right back into tech and innovation.
Which is the perfect setup for what we need to break down today. But first, the holidays are here.
They are.
And if you're trying to figure out what to get that techie friend who's impossible to shop for, we've got you covered. We're proudly sponsored by Old Glory.
Yeah, Old Glory is fantastic. It's the iconic music and sports fan merch store. They have everything. I mean, vintage band t-shirts, gear for your favorite team, you name it.
It's great quality stuff, and it's perfect for the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
And to make it a little easier, they're giving you a deal.
You can use the code SNARFL at checkout for 15% off your entire purchase.
That's code SNARFL at oldglory.com.
Okay, let's pivot. The big news dominating everything right now. AWS Re.invent 2025 out in Las Vegas.
And you can feel the pressure. I mean, Amazon Web Services is really feeling the heat from Microsoft, Azure, and Google Cloud, who've both been making these huge moves in AI.
Huge moves. So Amazon's response isn't just, one new tool. It's an absolute blitz. They're trying to maintain their dominance in the cloud by completely reshaping enterprise AI.
From the ground up.
Exactly. Our Morningstar report today really breaks it down into what we see as Amazon's 3 strategic pillars. It's like a 3-pronged attack.
Okay, I like that. A 3-pronged attack. What are they?
They're attacking costs, they're attacking customization, and they're attacking the future of work itself.
That's a great framework. All right, let's unpack that. Let's start with pillar 1, attacking cost. And that brings us to our first story, the Amazon Nova 2 model lineup.
Right, and this is not just a simple refresh. This is a very targeted, very competitive strike.
So they launched this second generation of Nova AI models. There's Lite, Pro, Sonic, and Omni.
And the key phrase that CEO Matt Garman kept repeating over and over was price performance. They're trying to make running these big foundational models so cheap on AWS that it doesn't make sense to run them anywhere else.
Okay, so let's start with the one that's getting the most buzz, Nova 2 Lite. They're saying this is the most cost-effective model for everyday stuff.
Yeah, Lite is the workhorse. It's for the high-volume standard enterprise tasks, following instructions, extracting information, generating code.
Not basic.
The basics that businesses do millions of times a day. And Garmin, he put it right up against competitors like Claude Haiku 4.5 and even GPT-5 Mini.
Okay, but what's the big deal here? I mean, everybody's got a mini model now.
The big deal is the cost. Inside Amazon Bedrock, the sources are saying Nova 2 Lite is at least 75% less expensive than the best models in its class.
75%.
75. This is a massive, intentional assault on their competitors' margins. Think about it. If you're a retailer or a logistics company running millions of small tasks a day, a 75% saving, that completely changes your operating costs.
It basically makes the other models too expensive for that kind of high volume work.
Exactly. It forces you to use AWS for your core day-to-day operations. It's clever.
Yeah, very clever. But what about the really complicated stuff? That's where Nova 2 Pro comes in, right?
Right. Pro is their flagship, a high intelligence model. It's for the really complex workloads, long-range planning, and what they're calling agentic coding.
Okay, let's pause on that term agentic coding because it feels central to their whole strategy. For everyone listening, what does that actually mean?
So agentic coding isn't just asking an AI to write a function for you. It's like having an autonomous engineer. You give it a high-level goal, like build a new checkout feature for our mobile app.
And it does the whole thing.
The whole thing. The agent plans out all the steps. It writes the code across different files. It debugs itself. It runs tests, and then it integrates the solution. It's a full multi-stage engineering task done autonomously.
So it's not just an assisted anymore. It's like a self-directed junior developer.
Precisely. And the pro model also acts as a teacher. So imagine a big bank. The pro model could master all of their complex internal compliance rules and then distill that knowledge down into a dozen smaller, super efficient student models that run cheaply on Nova Lite.
Wow. That's incredible specialization at scale. And they didn't even stop there. They also rolled out Sonic and Omni.
Right. Sonic is all about real-time, human-like conversation. It's a speech-to-speech model focused on super low latency, so almost zero delay. It's got a huge 1 million token context window, so it can have these long, complex conversations without losing track of what you're talking about.
And then there's Omni, which feels like the real showstopper. The industry's first unified multimodal model.
Unified multimodal just means it can digest pretty much anything you throw at it. Text, images, video, speech, all at the same time.
So it could watch an hour-long training video.
And cross-reference it with a 750,000-word manual, and then generate a summary and new marketing images based on all of that. It's taking big data and applying big context.
Okay, so the takeaway from story one is pretty clear. Amazon is blanketing the market. Every price point, every use case. They want saturation.
Right. Which leads perfectly into pillar 2, customization. If you have all these base models, how do you make them yours? And that brings us to story 2, Nova Forge, the tool to build your own proprietary AI expert.
And this is different from fine-tuning, right? Fine-tuning is kind of like giving a generalist model some specialized vocabulary. Nova Forge is something else.
It's custom pre-training. This is where big companies get a real proprietary edge. You're injecting your own unique data decades of your internal documents, your specific supply chain history during the foundational model building stage.
A stage that used to be only for the big AI labs like Google and OpenAI.
And now AWS customers can do it. Amazon is essentially giving companies like Sony or Booking.com the ability to replicate what a multi-billion-dollar AI lab can do, but just for their own business.
Which is a huge disruption.
It's massive, and they're offering this Nova Forge service for a platform fee of $100,000 a year.
Wait, $100,000? That sounds like a lot, and that's before compute and data costs.
Right.
Why is that price point so important?
Because it's just cheap enough for any major corporation to afford, but it's also high enough to completely crush the business model of all those smaller boutique AI startups that were trying to do this.
Oh, I see. So those startups were charging millions for this.
Exactly. Amazon can just commoditize it and make it a feature of their cloud. It's a competitive moat. They're not just competing with Google, they're clearing out the entire consulting layer underneath them.
That's a deep strategic play. And we have a real-world example of this with Reddit, right?
We do, and it's a great one. Reddit needed a custom model for content moderation, but off-the-shelf LLMs have a problem.
What's the problem?
Well, they're trained to be safe. They're designed to avoid analyzing or generating offensive or hateful content. But if you're moderating a huge forum,
You absolutely need your AI to be an expert in identifying that exact kind of content.
Exactly. So Reddit used Forge to inject decades of their own internal moderation data, all the context, all the slang, all the rules, right into the foundational model.
And they created a specialized Reddit expert model.
They did, and their CTO said it performed way better than any commercial model because it understood the platform, in the weeds. It proves that for these critical business functions, a generic model just isn't enough. You need a domain expert, and Forge lets you build one.
That is the power of specialization. Which leads us to Pillar 3, the big vision from CEO Matt Garman, betting on openness and autonomous agents.
Right. Garman knows the cloud war is heating up. Azure and Google are coming on strong. So his response is twofold: better infrastructure and an ecosystem built around agents.
Let's start with the hardware, the raw power. They announced the Trainium 3 AI accelerator chips.
Yeah, Trainium 3 is their bet that infrastructure is king. Garmin called it the best inference platform in the world.
And inference, just to remind everyone, is the process of actually running the models after they're trained. It's where most of the cost is.
Right. By offering a 4 times compute boost over the last generation, they're aiming for the best speed and the best price on the planet. If you need efficiency, they want you on Trainium 3.
But the strategy that feels, the most daring is this commitment to openness. They're actually encouraging customers to use competitor models like Google's Gemini inside their own AWS platform.
It's a brilliant strategic mind game. On the surface, it looks like they're being generous, or maybe admitting their models aren't always the absolute best.
But what's the real play here? Why let the competition onto your home turf?
Because it locks the customer in at the infrastructure level no matter who wins the best model race. A customer might be running a model from Google or Anthropic, but it's still being hosted, managed, secured, and built by AWS.
So they're still running on Amazon's chips, using Amazon's network.
Exactly. AWS still gets the recurring revenue and the customer relationship, even if Google gets credit for the model. They're playing the long game. It's a bet on infrastructure lock-in.
So they're shifting the fight away from whose AI model is smartest and into whose platform is most efficient. That is incredibly shrewd.
It is. And this all culminates in Garman's vision for what he calls billions of agents. Autonomous agents.
Agents that don't just wait for a command, but proactively do complex jobs. This is the third pillar, attacking the future of the workforce.
They are supercharging their software development tool, Kiro. Kiro agents are now designed to handle end-to-end software development. But the really disruptive part is what they're doing in operations and security.
Okay, walk us through that.
So in operations, these agents are doing complex DevOps and site reliability engineering work. SREs are the people who keep massive systems online. Kiro agents can now monitor performance, diagnose problems, and even implement fixes, all without a human touching anything.
That saves thousands of hours of very expensive human labor.
And what about security?
They're moving into automated penetration testing, pen testing.
Wow.
Yeah. These Kiro agents can look at code before it's released, find security holes, and even exploit them in a test environment to prove the weakness is real. It's like having an automated, relentless security auditor working 24/7.
It fundamentally changes the job of an engineer or a security expert. All of that low to mid-level tactical work is just gone.
It's gone. The future of enterprise work, according to Amazon, is highly specialized, cheap, automated, and it's all built on these fast, efficient Nova 2 models running inside their ecosystem. That's the bet.
That is a phenomenal breakdown of a huge week in tech. Thank you. Before we get to our final thought, we just want to give a quick shout out to our other sponsor.
That's right, Scony, the premium golf shoe store. If you are looking to up your game on the course with some incredibly comfortable, high-performance, and very stylish golf shoes, Scony has a fantastic lineup.
And just like with Old Glory, you can use the code SNARFL at checkout for 15% off your entire purchase. That's scoinihigh.com, code SNARFL.
So let's just quickly recap Amazon's whole play here. They are locking customers in with the super cost-efficient Nova 2 models. They are enabling hyper-customization with Nova Forge, which also squeezes out smaller competitors. And they're building this agent-driven, automated future on their own efficient hardware.
Okay, so here's our final thought for you to chew on today. If Amazon is successfully training these AI agents to autonomously handle complex work like software development, security audits, and logistics, the traditional job ladder is changing, and it's changing fast. So the question is, what non-traditional, truly high-value strategic role will you need to train for to stay ahead of this deep wave of automation that's coming in 2026?
A great way to connect the dots on what really matters.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.